Hey everybody, it's Miss Hadeen, and today I'm drawing a face for my superhero comic. So I've chosen to do an exaggerated face with a skinny chin and a big forehead. I'm going really lightly to pencil this out. Um, this is going to be one of my main characters. I'm not sure exactly who yet, but I'm still working on it. So this is partially to get just a front view set and maybe a basic expression and set the color palette. Decide which colors I want to use for everything. And you can see I'm working really, really slowly because I'm thinking about the expression as I draw and as I work and going really lightly with my pencil. And I know a lot of people speed it up. I'm going to speed it up for the coloring part, but I just sort of slowed this down a little bit so we could see exactly, working it out. If this is a character, the same character you draw all the time, then you'll be much quicker. But when you're developing a new character and you're making decisions as you draw, then it's a little bit slower. And you can see that I already start to go a little bit faster with my hair. Because I'm just confident because it's hair. It doesn't have to look exactly one way. And I love chunky, wonky hair. It's just sad that we can't have hair like this in real life without doing a lot of work. So that's my character. I'm going to add a little bit more hair on this one side to even it out. And I'm liking that. Now you can always go back and add more to something as you work. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit and I'm going to start outlining. Now I'm using bright pink for the hair. And I'm not going exactly perfectly over my hairlines, but I'm getting pretty close. And I'm just using a fine tip Sharpie pen to outline the eyes and to add some highlights in the eyes and my tiny little nose. And there's orange. Orange is just always on top of everything. Sometimes it's tricky to get him to move. So I've decided they're going to have green eyes and not solid green. There's going to be different greens within it. And that way they can change a little bit and still be consistent with the color. So the markers I'm using are the Bic Intensive markers. I picked them up from Amazon. You can get them in a million places. They have a nice set of colors and they're not very expensive, but they are fun to use. So here I'm doing a different shade of green right on top. And it's sort of like a starburst going out, and it's not symmetrical and it's not perfectly even. And it's sort of the way I want it to look. That's what's, that's what I'm looking for. It doesn't have to be really perfectly exactly the same from eye to eye because people aren't symmetrical. So now I'm adding some darker green even on top. So there's 3 different shades of green in this eye so far. And I'm sure I'm going to wind up adding more as I work later because it'll look different as the marker dries completely on the paper. You can see it looks really dark when it's wet and then it sort of fades as it dries. So I've decided to use a very light pink, and this is not a a Bic Intense marker. It's just another marker with a brush tip, and it's a little quicker to use. And I'm just carefully going over my face. I'm trying to give it an even coat. And because the eyes aren't outlined, I sort of gave it an outline just so I know where to stop the color of my face so it doesn't go completely into my eye. I'm just not going to outline the edges of it with black. So here I'm zooming along. And this is a pretty decent color. It's close to a color that could happen. I tend to like things to be a little bit more brighter or less realistic. I'm a big fan of blue and green skin. But I like the way that color looks with the green. So here I'm going through and I'm doing my neck, and that is completely zoomed fast. You can see how fast it gets. And as the marker dries, you can see where it's a little wetter in areas and dry in others. It looks a little uneven, but it'll even out. And now I'm working on adding some pink in the hair. Now I'm not going to fill the hair in all one color. I'm going to use a few different colors. And I haven't really made up my mind. I just have some markers on the side that I'm sort of choosing from. Sometimes it's a good idea to just take out markers that, the 3 or 4 colors you want to use or something, and put them next to you so you have them really ready and available. And you've made your decision by picking them. I guess I use this marker a lot because it seems to be getting a little dry. And you can tell it is getting a little dry because it's much harder to fill in the area. Might be time for me to get a new set. So yeah, this marker is getting a little dead. You can tell it's a little harder. When I switch colors, we'll see how much more vibrant and nice they work. It is true that the colors used the most, your favorite colors, do run out the fastest. See, I had to stop and go over that a little bit, so you can see it got much darker because I'm using a different marker now. And it's almost exactly the same color. It looks a little bit different because it's going in so wet, right? And I really like this color a lot. It's a really beautiful pink. So now I'm switching, and I have this really dark, it's like a magenta, it's like a purpley, it's a really dark color. And I want to call it blue, but it's not quite blue, and it's not quite, it's just a beautiful dark purpley color. How's that? And you can see that this color is just much smoother going on. I've used it to outline a lot, but I haven't used it to fill in big spaces, so it's still really fresh. And that's the way it works. The colors you don't use as often are the colors that don't run out. A lot of times you wind up with, a million oranges because you've gone through a few sets and orange is not the color you use the most. Or maybe it's orange and green that are left over a lot. The blues, the reds, the yellows, the pinks, those colors that you use more often tend to run out faster. So, and here I'm chunking out my hair a little bit, and I'm giving like big spots, and you can see as I do it, I'm making lines to divide where one color will meet from the next. So this chunk here, I added that side line, and then I'm filling in the rest of my shape. So again, I'm going pretty neatly in one direction as I work. When it's a fresh marker, it doesn't matter as much as when it's an older marker. And some markers just naturally show your brush strokes or hand movement more than others. So you can see some places I go really slowly because I want to stay within my lines, and then I speed up and get really fast. And I do pause that, every few minutes you'll see when I switch colors that, I'm pausing to pick up another marker and to look at it to see what's going on and to see where I want to put something else. Up, that's Sleepy coming to say hi. So here I decided to use this metallic blue. I wanted it to be like a highlight in the hair and just really shiny. The rest of the hair is more like pinks and magenta, and this blue is like a blue silver, and it really stands out nicely and helps separate different chunks of hair. So I'm making her bangs that color, and I'm just giving some outlines to some other colors. And with this, you sort of make up your mind as you work. So you can see every once in a while I'll stop and I'll pause to decide where I'm going to put my next color or what colors I'm going to use. And I'm trying to make it so that each side has the same amount of each color, just in different areas. So I don't want any two of the same colors to touch, really. I want it to be, very chunky and separate. And this is Orange coming to check me out now. All my kitties are coming to visit. Some days they stay away, and other days they won't go away. They're very silly. And at one point I had to stop this video because Orange was chewing on my pen. And there he goes, trying it again. So I love the way her hair's coming. Now I switch markers. I'm going to this really light pink. And even fast, you can see that it does take some time to color in a big area. Maybe I'll try to do one with painting, because with a paintbrush it might be a little quicker. But there's something fun about markers because you can just experiment and try new things very quickly. It just takes a little longer to fill in large areas. So she's almost done, and as I'm looking at her while I'm working, I'm deciding what I'm going to do with her eyebrows. I don't want to leave them white, and I don't want to make them black because that would be too heavy. So I think I'm going to do something shiny. I just don't know what. So here on the top of her head, there's a lot of sun hitting it because there's a lot of this really light color. And this is so sped up now. You can see how fast my hand moves. It goes back and forth. I'm speeding it up and slowing it down so we can, so it won't be such a long video. And I think this is going to be one of the superheroes. I don't know if it's going to be my main character or a side character. I'm going to have to decide. I'm going to make a few of them and see what I do. And I also have to decide what kind of powers they have. And I'm going to have to work on their backstory, their origin story, to see where they come from, how they get their powers, and why they are the way they are. Because every superhero needs to have a good backstory. And they have to know what kind of powers they have. They could be super smart. They could be super persuasive. They could be super strong. They can see through walls. They can make all the kitties come to them when they draw. Maybe that's my superpower. Maybe my real superpower is that my cats are drawn to me when I color. And maybe coloring is your superpower. So here I'm just going around and adding a little bit more detail and outlining things neatly. I like this pink color. And you can tell, at the end, if there's any areas that, need a little bit more color, you can go and add them. So here I'm using a silver pen, and I'm just giving a little bit more details to my eyes. I'm coloring in those hot spots. Oh, and here's Sleepy again. He wants to be pet. He's a good boy. And I'm making my eyebrows with silver, very silver scribbly in eyebrows. They're a little messy. So I'm just about done with this video. I hope you like it. I hope you start thinking about your superpowers and your backstory and putting it all together. And we can talk about it later and have a fabulous, great, creative day. And let's see, I still have to draw my lips in. I just want to make sure that I say goodbye before the video's over this time, because sometimes I forget. And here's just a really nice warm orange, red-orange lips. So enjoy your video. Enjoy making your superheroes. Tell me what you think and share your art with me. Have a fabulous, 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 fabulous day.